Happy second Sunday of Advent, everybody. Nice to see you. I'm sorry to say that the U.S. did not beat Netherlands yesterday. I was really hoping, but I'll get to that in a moment, Now, I may have already told you this, but I like it so much I'm going to tell it again, even if you've already heard it at this Mass. There was a man who was driving, did I tell you about the man who was driving down the road with a penguin in his car? No? Okay, good. Man's driving down the road with a penguin in his car. Police officer sees the car, figures it's going a little fast, so he goes to pull him over. As he's going to write up the ticket, he notices there's a penguin in the back seat. He says, "Sir, you need to take that penguin to the zoo." The guy gives him his ticket, and the guy says, "Thank you, officer." And next day, the officer's at his regular post watching, and the same car goes by, same man in it, and he sees the penguin in the back seat. So he pulls over, and it stops. He says, "You're supposed to take that penguin to the zoo." He says, "Yes, I know." He says, "And?" He says, "Today we're going to the movies." We should just stop right here and just celebrate that. That is such. I just love that. I just love that. Today, the second candle of Advent has to do with peace, and the thing is, though, peace, spiritual peace, the peace that the Lord gives, the peace that comes from abiding in God, resting our hearts in God, is not the same thing as what we generally think of that constitutes peace. It's not just absence of conflict. It's not just that, things are kind of calm. Peace has to do with the reality of who we are, how we got to be here, what we're for, and where we are going. And so peace has both a personal meaning for us in that relationship to God, that rootedness in God, and it also has a corporate basis in our lives. The things that the people of God who believe do together because of their belief. The things that the people of God who believe do together because of their belief. And this is one reason why the expectation of the second coming of God is one where we are not only filled with hope, but we anticipate that realization of the kingdom by the things that we can do today to try to approximate and draw us closer to that great day when the Lord comes to rule the earth with justice. The personal aspect of peace and the corporate aspect of peace. On Friday, we celebrated a Mass of Thanksgiving for a young man, teenager, who had been struck by a car, hit and run, left in the side of the street, and his skull was fractured severely in several places. And that had happened back in February or March. This was the first time that the family gathered, the mother with the boy and with their other children, and there were over 200 people here last evening. And as we're beginning to start the Mass, just before we came in, the family had requested that this is a Mass of Thanksgiving, because the boy was not expected to have survived. And she showed me some pictures that showed him in the hospital and how completely helpless he was, and all of the surgery and stitches, that were for his head that was so fractured. And having not seen these pictures before, but in terms of what they communicated rather rawly and brutally, I just burst into tears. And here's the mother who is comforting me, saying it's all right. And I could see that there was peace in her eyes. How can that be? A personal peace, because the realization that which she had prayed for and everyone had prayed for so much, which almost seemed to be hopeless, was accomplished. Boy was returned to her. I don't know yet, and maybe they don't know yet, what the continuing road to recovery will be. But it must have been like the joy that came in that story of the prodigal son, where the father sees the son coming back and he has to throw a party to rejoice because the son who we thought was lost has been found. My child who I thought was dead has been brought back to life. And that's the personal piece. It doesn't mean that everything is okay, but what it means is, we can rest our hearts in God in terms of what we bring to God in our life and then how he responds to us. And so it was a great deal of faith there, and faith that their prayers had been answered. And there was a saying again which has to do with faith, not fear. Faith, not fear. And that is one of the means to us finding peace, a personal peace. God is present, God loves us, God sustains us. If God stopped thinking of us, all the universe would collapse and disappear. We are sustained and held fast by God no matter what is happening in our life. That is a personal peace. There also is a corporate part of peace. And the world today, going great, isn't it? Everything's hunky-dory, no problems at all. Look at the young children today being born, and you go, man, you have a great future ahead of you, boy. Everything's going to be so great. The world's on fire. The oceans are rising. The greatest inequity of wealth in the world. The rise of despotism. Hatred against anti-Semitism. Racism is still getting really, really good and comfortable because people like to be able to have somebody to hate when they're worried about how things are going. And we're saying, this is great. This is great. What peace we have. No. And by the way, I didn't mean to make that sound as bad as it did, but the reality is that it's not good. It's not good. And so, where do you get this corporate peace? Yesterday, as the United States was playing against the Netherlands, we have, and you can still see people today who have been busy about that, our young people, our teenagers are making wreaths, Advent wreaths, in order to, sell them and provide the money for their going out again come June, come this summer, to repair the houses, to make them safe and dry, and comfortable for people who cannot afford to do that work themselves or have it done. And so they had the big screen TV was showing the United States, playing and losing, to the Netherlands. And normally if you were just sitting in your chair at home watching that, and you were rooting for the United States, you might be going, By the way, the Argentina won, right? Argentina won. And the Pope is from Argentina, right? And the Pope really loves soccer. Do you think if somebody misses a goal, the Pope curses? I don't know. It's a thought that just occurred to me, And so, if you were just watching it by yourself, you'd be going, rats, we're out of the running. But here it is that's in the background, and what's people are really busy about is working together to be able to make this wonderful thing that's been going on for almost 40 years to happen again come the summer. And there isn't a sense of, will we still be alive by then? What's going on in Ukraine? How nuts is Putin? What kind of hope can we have and what kind of future? The whole thing is there's a corporate work of mercy that people are engaged in. And it's that corporate sense of peace. We are working together for something greater than our individual selves, something that we cannot do alone. And together, we find purpose and joy and peace in that, no matter what else is happening. No matter what else is happening. And so that personal aspect of peace and that corporate aspect of peace is one that comes to us, one, when we realize we are held fast by God, and two, when we gather together in community to do the work that faith impels us to do. It's amazing. That's how Jesus talks about, peace I leave with you, peace is my gift to you, not as the world gives it, but as I give it. Peace be with you.